Who is watching. My name is Tamara. I work on Dentistry Magazine. And Justin, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
I'd love to. Yeah, Tamara, thanks for inviting me along for this conversation today. Great to see you. Great to be on the platforms today. And so my name's Justin Leigh. I'm the founder of Focus for Growth, and we're a sales and leadership training and coaching company, but we specialize in the dental market. So delighted to be talking to you today, of course, about the Dental Practice Accelerator, because I'm one of the mentors on that program with Dentistry FMC.
Yes, and the second round has officially launched, which we are very excited about. Justin, can you tell us a little bit about what Dental Practice Accelerator actually is?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Tamara, I'll tell you the backstory because not a lot of people know it, but in October 2022, the dentistry team hosted a webinar with me and with Patel and Sandeep Kumar. And Samir is an incredible clinician, incredible leader of a practice called 11 Dental Wellness in London, arguably one of the top high-end practices in the West End of London. And Sandeep is the founder of the My Smile Network, one of the largest networks for providing Invisalign, not just in the UK, but right the way across Europe. And we ran this it was like a Q&A session where we were talking about, the business of dentistry. How do you start to lead and build a thriving practice? And we had incredible engagement on that webinar discussion. And throughout the conversation, we had many comments from people saying, do you do mentoring? Is there a program? Or could we work with you? And so we regrouped with the dentistry team and thought, actually, there's probably something in this, and decided that we'd come up with this concept called the Dental Practice Accelerator. So last year was our pilot year. And what we did was the three of us became mentors. So Sandeep Kumar, Samir Patel, and myself became mentors. And we worked with a single practice to really help and guide them to look at their growth from a private practice perspective. And Samir was looking at leadership and clinical excellence. Sandeep was specifically focused on clear aligner therapy, in particular Invisalign, and how they can start to think about lead generation, driving the right type of patient to the practice. And then I was helping them with conversion, with some leadership, coaching and accountability to make the changes to inspire that growth in the private practice. And we've been doing that for the last 12 months. It's been very successful, with over 40% growth in the practice in their private fees. And so, this year we're coming back bigger and better, which we'll get into in the rest of the discussion. So that's what the Dental Practice Accelerator is in a nutshell.
Yeah, definitely. And now the first round has wrapped up. And as you said, incredible private revenue growth. And can you tell us a little bit about how that process went for Jane Kin, the previous winners, and more than just the revenue, what have they gotten out of this experience?
Yeah. Well, first, lots of people joining in from LinkedIn and from other platforms. So just to say thank you all for saying hello. Hello, Monia. Hello, Chilaka. Hello, Farah. Hello, Omar. Hello, Tulsi. Thanks for your messages today. The journey so far for the team at Campbell Dental Practice has been, I think for them, it's been a combination of challenging and inspiring, because in the first instance, they went through quite a robust process to become the winners of the contest. And once they were on board, then we agreed the stages of the work that we do together. And it started with some initial conversations about where were they now, what's the level of performance in the practice, who are the team, what are the things they need to get in place in order to start the journey. And then we started with a full day together with the practice principal, the business manager and the practice manager, and really trying to help them to understand, what does it take to start to go on that growth journey for their private practice. And some of that is mindset shifts, some of it is sharing best practice, some of it is challenging the way they think about the work they're doing today. And then in the afternoon of that same day, after we'd fleshed out the plan and shared with them some of the ideas and concepts we'd like to work with them on, we then engaged the full practice team. So we had an afternoon with the full team and really went through a similar process, but really supporting the leaders of the practice to be able to then have those conversations, to be able to make that shift in the mindset and the growth goals of the practice. And then beyond that, we went on a journey, over the last 12 months of coaching, accountability, follow-up, helping them when unforeseen challenges arise and they're not quite sure how to navigate them. So either through a coaching process or through sharing some of the work that's been done in other practices that myself, Sandeep and Samir are working with. And in particular, I think what's been useful for them is the opportunity to tap into our networks. So I'm very well networked in dentistry, as is Samir, as is Sandeep. And of course, spending time with people who are working with a lot of other clinicians who are ambitious, who are driving growth, it starts to set a new expectation for you. So you get that, they say your circle of 5 is really important because it sets your own aspirations. I think that's one of the kind of byproducts of this program, is that the winning practice have had that opportunity to just start to shift their own expectations of what's possible. So that's kind of the process so far and the results they've had. I mean, Jay and Kin speak very highly of the process, the work with Sandeep, the work with Samir, the work that I do with them on a regular basis really does seem to have made that transformation and shift in their thinking around what's possible for the practice.
Yeah, and I mean, if you all who are watching right now, if you've been following along on the journey, then the round 1 speaks for itself why this is such an incredible opportunity. But Justin, can you tell us, why should people apply to round 2? Why is this such a once in a lifetime opportunity?
It's a complete no-brainer. So Sandeep, Samir and I don't do anything else like this other than through the Dental Practice Accelerator program. So, we're all busy running our own successful businesses. Samir is an incredible clinician, so he's running his own clinical practice. Sandeep has this incredible business in the My Smile network that keeps him busy, pretty much full time. I'm running my own coaching and growth consulting business. So between the 3 of us, or among the 3 of us, we probably wouldn't get round to something like this if we had to do it ourselves. It's because dentistry and the FMC team have really got behind it and galvanized, our efforts to make this program work. So you get an opportunity to work with 3 people in dentistry that probably wouldn't collaborate and come together on any other project. And the focus and attention that you get throughout that year really does give you that mentoring and guidance to be able to make that transition in your practice, to kind of get some goals in place, get some support from people who have already been on the journey that you're looking to go on. And particularly, at the moment where with dentistry's in quite a period of flux and change, which I'm sure we'll talk about. So having people that, get where you've been, have already kind of been on that journey and are connected and networked with other people that are doing the same, really does help you to find a path and guide your thinking and planning as you go forward for growth in 23, 24 and beyond.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that it's likely that you wouldn't have collaborated to do this outside of the Dental Practice Accelerator, but also to mention that it's entirely free. So, I mean, when would you get that? It's quite valuable.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right, Tamara. You just wouldn't get it any other way. And thanks to you and the team at FMC and dentistry for making this possible and bringing us all together. It's been a great journey so far, and we're even more excited about this year because I think we've got a really good sense of momentum now with what we've done over the last 12 months. I think like with anything that you do, the second time round it tends to be a smoother, better, more fast-paced experience for everybody involved. So really looking forward to round 2 and the second group that we work with.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, applications are already coming in and people are preparing their entries, I'm sure, as we speak. So, can you tell us, as both a mentor and a judge for the process, can you share any advice about putting together entries? What do you look for as a judge in this application?
So the link to register is actually in the feed. So if anybody wants to just go through the comments, thanks to your team for putting the link in today. What are we looking for? The most important, there are a number of important considerations. So number 1 is ambition. We're really looking for a practice principal and team who have ambition. They want to grow. They want to make a step change from where they are today. I mentioned the team as well. That's really important. We're looking for a really well-aligned practice team, people who kind of are on that mission and that growth journey together, and everybody in the practice wants it or would want it with the right approach from us and guidance and support from us. And then, the other piece for us is about, improvement and growth. We're looking for people who not only want the growth, but they want to improve their practice. They want to improve performance. They want to engage their teams more effectively. And they're really looking to kind of be open to that guidance, to that mentoring, because that's what makes the difference. When people are open and receptive, then it creates this amazing opportunity for, accelerating growth, as the program title suggests. And we've got lots of people commenting for us on LinkedIn as well. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, Lubna. And I had asked the question, how can a dentist from Saudi Arabia work with us? Ahad, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure right now, but drop me a DM on LinkedIn and happy to pick up a conversation and see where that goes.
Excellent. And obviously, the dental profession is dramatically changing from year to year. So things have probably changed. Trends have changed since the last time that we started this process. So can you tell us a few focus points that you and the other mentors might be looking for in round 2 in terms of it helping the practice improve?
Yeah, I think thinking about specialist areas of interest is really useful. So having an idea as a practice team, what is it you're looking to stand for? What types of patients and what types of treatment therapies are you looking to focus in on as you make this journey? Starting to kind of, I guess, for our existing practice, there has been a large reliance on an NHS contract. I think a lot of practices find themselves in that situation. So having that ambition about what to do with that, for a lot of practices, they won't want to completely give up their NHS contract, and we wouldn't encourage that either. But to think about, what do you want to transition towards is really useful, because it's very difficult to do two things at the same time, unless you've got a really solid plan that enables you to do that. So we really encourage people to be thinking about the direction of travel they want to go in, and not so much fixated about where they are today. That transition to a better future for them, their practice and their patients is really important. And we will quite happily help them with some of the practical elements of that. How do you plan the transition? How do you start to set those goals? Who are the partners you might need to start to engage with that can help you make that a successful growth journey alongside us as mentors? As I say, part of the value, I think, is also the networks that we have and the dentistry team have, so that we can make those introductions to the right partners to support the practice in that growth journey.
Yeah, and despite all the experience that all 3 of you mentors have and the knowledge that you're sharing, you are all very heavily involved in the process throughout the 12 months, right? Can you tell people about some of the things that you, the monthly reviews that you have with the team and everything that you offer?
Yeah. So for me, I tend to play the role of kind of mentor and coach. And coach really means holding people accountable for the actions that they take. So we set up in the early stages, a really clear action plan. And from that action plan, then it's about just being accountable to make the progress that the practice team, and in particular, led by the principal or the business manager, are looking to make throughout the 12 months. And that is a monthly review where we check in on, what were the actions, the priorities that the team had identified, and where are they with taking those actions and following up and progressing. And sometimes it's interesting, a month goes by, and without that accountability, without somebody to say, let's just revisit the plan, look at those key actions that you said you were going to work on, actually your diary and your time gets consumed by all the other things that happen in the business. And that in itself is a really useful, almost recalibration on a monthly basis. But then Samir has an incredible practice in the West End of London called 11 Dental. It's in Wimpole Street. And one of the things that Samir has been very generous with is bringing key people from the practice down to the clinic in Wimpole Street, to 11, to experience it, to understand what's the process he works through with his patients. How does he guide and mentor his own team? How does he create and foster that collaborative spirit within the entire 11 Dental Wellness team? How do they set standards? How do they start to, really benchmark what is world-class clinical dentistry and patient experience? And you learn so much just by being exposed to that environment. And then from Sandeep's perspective, Sandeep has a number of incredible clinics across the country. His flagship clinic is in Birmingham, at his kind of Smile Stylist Centre, and he brings the teams into the clinic. Again, talks them through the experience, gives them that exposure to what does the best-in-class Invisalign treatment look like, and the digital journey and all the follow-ups and the communication. So you get surrounded by such a wealth of knowledge and experience that starts to rub off on your own practice team, on the experience you want to create for your patients, and starts to set a new level of expectation. And that the value in that is almost immeasurable. It's really difficult to get that level of exposure to the right environments and the right people without the support of this program.
Yeah, it is very exciting. So what are you most excited about going into the second round of DPA?
The thing that always excites me is not quite knowing what we're going to come up against. So it could be anything, from the goals that the practice owner wants to set and achieve, from some of the challenges that are faced in practice, practical challenges day to day. Big one at the moment is recruitment and staff engagement. So how do we support the teams to make sure that, and the principal in particular, support the principal to get that engagement of their teams and work out a plan that's going to give them that confidence and sustainability throughout the process and long term. But it really is that, and also the closeness. So because I'm the person that does the monthly calls, I tend to get close to the customer, and that's a really useful process and a really useful relationship. I always see those relationships as being supportive but also challenging. So my job is to provide the right support, but also to provide the right challenge, because that's where the progress happens. When people feel supported, comfortable and confident, then they're prepared to be challenged, and that's the bit that kind of excites me, setting the challenges and helping people to get that action plan in place that drives the performance and growth.
And of course, we do keep everyone updated regularly on both Dentistry Magazine and dentistry.co.uk. So why should people follow along on the winner's journey? What might they get out of that as readers?
Yeah, I think one of the big advantages to following the journey, I do this a lot with other businesses that I follow. You learn so much from the progress that other people make. It does a number of things for you. I think one, it starts to stimulate your own thinking and almost make you want to keep up and catch up with people that are performing at a higher level. But also you'll start to learn some of the practical advice, the practical tips, and sometimes they're really simple things, like getting your team together on a regular basis to remind them about the goals for the practice, like talking to them about how they communicate with patients, how we make sure that elevation happens in performance. There's a big difference in the expectations of a private patient versus an NHS patient. And so as you make that transition, what are the small improvements, the small performance gains that you're looking to make, and what are being made through that process that you can start to take into your own practice and almost learn through the example that's set by the DPA winners that will go through this year. So whether you're successful in winning or not, you should definitely try your application without a doubt, but follow the journey, because there'll be lots of insights and lots of practical tips that you can gain that you'll be able to put into place in your own practice as well.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Justin, for joining us today. And for everybody watching, thank you so much as well. Dental Practice Accelerator round 2 is officially open. Justin, would you like to share a few words about that?
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing process. Yeah, thanks so much, Tamara. We're really excited about it. Applications will close at the end of June. There will then be a shortlist and a second round. So now's the time to get those early applications in. And it puts you on the radar and on the map of our teams as well. So definitely worth putting in a submission for DPA 2023-24.
We wish you the best of luck with your entries.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tamara.